So I'm going to do a 2-for-1 special. I had a request to talk about redness, and then I had a request to help with a specific eyeshadow look. I'm going to show you the eyeshadow look. Redness isn't going to take that long, but I do have a couple products that I combat redness with. So that one won't be as long, but let me show you what I'm talking about when it comes to the eyeshadow. My friends reached out to me and they wanted to know if I could help them. I'm going to show you the eyeshadow look, but I'm very, very thoughtful, so I don't want to do the entire look. And the reason why is because I am not Mexican. So I like to be very, very mindful of those things. Because she dances Mexican folklorico. I hope I'm saying that at least a little bit right. But I want to be mindful. Always, 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 always. But I will do the eyeshadow look because, let me show you. So this is the look that she sent me. And you can see it has such beautiful separation in between each. But it's not fully blended. And it's just such a beautiful look. I mean, this is one of the looks that would have inspired me to continue, to start my journey with makeup. But it is going to take a smaller brush, so I did want to help with the eyeshadow. Let's do it. But let's start with the redness first. So I'm the queen of redness. In fact, I'm surprised I'm not more flared up right now. But I'm going to tell you why I'm not so flared up. First things first, we talked about this the other day. This lives on my cheeks. Now, I don't put this all over my face, so if you do have redness, I only really put it where I know I'm going to have redness. My forehead, if my whole skin looked like my forehead, we would be on track, but it doesn't. So this right here, I've used for years. I have purchased this myself many, many times. And the reason I say that is because it's easy to use something if a brand does send it to you all of the time. So I want you to keep in mind that I myself, yes, I've been around a long time. Brands know who I am, but I don't always reach out to them for restocks. I find that to be not something I'm comfortable with. It's okay if you're watching this and you're a content creator and you do. Y'all know I'm timid. I don't know what's wrong with me. But that being said, this. So yes, I would just take this and then I would just drop it right here. Just make sure that we don't let this touch. It's okay if you do. It's just that I'm always mindful. I want to be mindful and let you know that touching this to our skin all the time isn't always good. Bacteria, just try to not. But that being said, this is something that has been in my redness routine. That's what I should call this. My redness routine. 4 years. Love it. My favorite was the one from Elvis. Rest in peace. It was discontinued. Sick of calm. Because it had this feeling, which this is in here too, but I'm not there yet. But it had that cooling feeling. Whatever I like gets discontinued. I'm sure this will be discontinued. But this I was using before the Elemis and I loved it. But this just does, which could be good. You might not like a cooling sensation. This does not have a cooling sensation. It just helps with the redness and helps over time. I have had, my mother named me Rosie, so I was already set up for these extra rosy cheeks. So I know redness in my cheeks. Now this has kind of been a game changer. Okay, I don't like to be dramatic. I try not to be. Sometimes the makeup does take over, but this, you have to like a very pepperminty feel. I think peppermint's even, it has peppermint in it. Okay, peppermint. Think about rubbing a peppermint on your face. And I say that because I like to be very mindful. Some of us don't like that feeling, so it's too overwhelming. We could even be sensitive to peppermint. So that's something to mention, but this does have an extreme calming effect. In fact, I'm gonna spray it on my chest right now. I get a little nervous even talking about doing that eyeshadow look because I wanna be mindful and thoughtful, and I don't wanna be offensive, so I get hived up. Why did I choose this job? Oh, because I love it and I love helping people. I also find that even in terms of my nervousness, it kind of redirects. I don't want to get too deep into it. I am not qualified in any of this. This is just an absolute personal experience. But I do feel that it really does calm me because it's almost a redirect of my nervous system. So I even travel with this. I put it in a different bottle because this is too big this is 4 fluid ounces. So that's it right there. I need to refill it, but I do take it with me and it helps me on flights. So again, that's getting a little too, like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm telling you just my experience. So the next thing is this. This actually works. Now the only thing is this does not work well with makeup. Look what it did. I don't know why I do that. So I do these at night, and I have seen a major difference with these. So you have this part that you put on first. It's the calming cream, and then this rubbery mask goes on top of it. Now with these I have to sit still, which is another reason I like to do them at night. Jean acts like a weighted blanket that I cannot get out from under. So we sit and we watch our baking show, and I wear this. I never realized how wholesome I am. But I do want to stress, I don't put these on before makeup. But it's not primer, so it's not like it's not doing its job. But that being said, this is so calming for me, and these work so beautifully for me. I love them so much, and I have about 3 or 4 of them right now in my fridge because I just gotta have them. Now this right here, I've never had a color corrector that is skincare that I can just wear without having to wear any makeup. It feels like I'm putting on, we're gonna put it on. It feels like I'm putting on, which essentially I am. I'm just putting on skincare with just a little bit more of a green tint than, say, this. And you get to wear it all day, and I feel like this has even improved. I can say this now, because I don't even know how long I've been using this. I know I've been using it at least a year. I feel like it really does help improve redness. And then I will just put it wherever I have redness. And depending on if I'm going to, this is a helpful tip, if I'm going to cover it up with makeup, I use a denser side of a brush because I really want the impact. But if I am gonna wear it alone, what I'll do is I'll use that denser side to really focus it where I want it. Then I switch to the fluffy side and fluff the edges out. Look at that. Compared to that. And no, there's nothing wrong with this side. That's not what we're doing here. This is just to kind of show you, I love the green corrector because I get a lot of comments like, oh, I would never cover that up. That's not even like that. Why would you cover up the redness just to put it back? Sometimes I don't want the same color redness. Jean, please. Sometimes I don't want the redness just here. Sometimes I want the redness here. There's so many different reasons, and it's just a fun way to express ourselves, and I like to have options, and a green corrector can give us more options. We're about to start the eyeshadow look, but I'm just gonna do this so they're even. I am gonna do my eyebrow too, so get ready for that. Just one eyebrow, and I'm just gonna do one eye. Nice. So we're gonna go ahead, powder. I had somebody, I guess, that had never seen my naked eyebrows before. They were like, oh my God, what did you do to your eyebrows? I said, I took my makeup off. So what you just saw me do was powder my eyebrows. And we talked about this before, but we have so many friends. I've learned that with what I just said. So this right here could have a lot of skincare in it. It could have a lot of our natural oils in it. And when we're trying to take a brow pencil, a brow pen, brow gel over any kind of skincare, what we could have is they could droop later. It could change the color of the brow product that we want to use. So there's another reason I can't think of it right now, but those two are pretty much the main. So when you really work just some loose powder in here, translucent, what can happen is everything's gonna, they won't last. But everything is going to last so much longer. All of your products, quit yelling at me. It's going to be true to color, and it's just going to be so much easier to work with. I really love the formula of this MAC brow pencil. I buy these all of the time. This is the shade Stylized. I bought this shade one day because I couldn't find taupe, but taupe is my favorite, but I'm not a quitter and I'm not a waster, so we're gonna use Stylized. First thing I like to do is brush my brows the way that they all naturally grow, and I go through seasons. So if you don't like the way that I do my brows, please continue to do them the exact same way that you love to do them. I was wearing them very, very floofy and kind of very brushed up for a while. Right now I'm kind of just wearing them in the way that they naturally grow but filled in. So there's really no right or wrong. I feel like brows are so personal. So what I like to do is this is important, I will completely relax And I'm just going to start to kind of push this through. I am going to use a pin too, but this kind of lays down a base, and even how I'm holding it. So I know a lot of times we want to hold it like this, but this can be a whole lot of pressure that can even break the tip of this and just kind of make our brows, not always, but it can make them a little harsher than what we were after. So if you just kind of hold it a little further back, always make sure to relax, because I sometimes don't even relax. And I'm just filling in where I know there should be hair. And again, I'm going pretty light-handed. And then, once I kind of have that where I like it, I'll just brush it through a couple times. See? Still need to fill in a little bit more here, so go with the hair. Then, brush it down. And then I'm just going to see, I need to hold it further back, because I need a really light touch on the top part for sure. This is where I like the lightest touch. And another thing to think about is I'm actually not going to fill this in as heavy. I really let the bottom of the brow kind of be, as you can see, let me just show you. It's not wildly heavy, but it's still a lot more product than what I do on the top. So I'm still going to, I'm just moving those back down, and I'm still just going to keep, and I'm going right on the top, just so you know. Boom, 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 boom. But I like to do these small strokes. This helps keep everything a little bit softer. And then I do need to extend, because, oh, let me show you this. Meow. Okay, that's where my brow should end. Meow. That should be the highest point of the arch. And then meow. See? Okay, so now we have kind of the base. And then I find the most natural way to do my brows. I love this pen. The only issue is I don't even use the gel in. This gel is really, really nice if you have very soft brow hair. Okay, I don't. You're looking at boar bristle. Genie! But Bodyography is a very pro-focused brand. And when a pro-focused brand usually makes something, it's very well thought out. The mechanism on this is probably one of the best flow mechanisms I have ever seen. I do like the Maybelline one. I do like other ones. This one has never leaked on me. And the way that the product flows out is just so much better, because sometimes when we're using a product that isn't perfectly thought out, and I don't want to just convince you that we have to have it, but I'm just letting you know. Like the Maybelline, like the NYX, the idea is there, but that mechanism and how that flows out can sometimes sabotage us. Now let me show you. I'm going to do this because I love you. This feels like a pen. Where do we hold a pen? We want to hold it here. Okay, right? That's not going to work for me. Okay? Takes a second, but you know what? I'm going to draw it here. I'm not going to place it here, but I'm just going to show you. Look at that difference. Look at how much more hair-like that looks. All because we're holding it further back. Because then you can just get the most even, graceful movements. This is also a lot easier to do if you do it into a mirror and not your phone. But I don't need this much, so I'm just going to fluff that away with some micellar water. Crisis averted. Going back to this, holding it very far back. And all I'm trying to do is, this brow actually comes over right. I usually just put 1 or 2 right here. And I promise you, you don't have to hold your breath. Look how cool. Just that one. Isn't that so cool? But this one, I need to get him back under control. And then I'll just add a couple more hairs, and then we're almost to brow gel. And if one person looks at this and goes, ugh, I just don't have that kind of time. When you get good at this, and if you're not yapping and you're not doing it into your phone, this takes me 2 minutes. 2 minutes, I promise. Then if you need to do a little bit more precision tidy, I'll take micellar water on a C30, and it's literally like it just plucks away these little drawn on hairs. Isn't that cool? I love this brow gel. Now, I don't laminate with it, and what laminate is I'll show you on this brow. That's where you would take a ton of this, and I love it. Oh goodness, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just not into it. But lamination, and I want to show you that it's capable of doing this. Is where you get it all in here, right? And you wait a second for it to get a little bit tacky, which I'm just trying to get these as floofed as possible. Isn't that interesting? Okay, then you kind of let it dry just a little bit. I actually have a hack for lamination if you enjoy this style. So I will take a lash comb. Look at that. I don't know why I do that. It's a habit. Okay, and then I'll take the back of it and press it. And then that is what the lamination is. And then if you don't like the way something looks, you can just kind of get it back in order with this. And again, I'm just showing you what lamination is. This is not how I'm doing my brow. And then you wanted to shape it a little bit. And then you would fill in after. But usually lamination's even a little bit floofier. My brow hair is just not great for lamination. If you have soft brow hair, lamination is delightful. But y'all know me. You see how it's kind of stuck down to my skin? That is lamination. Some people like it more floofy, some people like it a little less floofy, but that's not what I do. All I do is take the same brow gel, and I'm never touching my skin. With lamination, you're always kind of touching the skin, and that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of floofing it through. Also notice I don't go back and forth. And the reason why is because the way that I do it, and since I already have makeup on, that could run the risk of taking it off. So I'm shaping them the way that they naturally grow, but then I'm even going to push them back like that in a minute. But this will help them stay in place, and it kind of separates them. And anytime you have a little bit of separation with brow hair, it's always going to look a little bit more floofy. Sorry, I got distracted by this song. I love this song. Then I take a spoolie, brush it, because there's no product on here. If I continue to do it with the brow gel, I could have too much product, and I like them to be a little softer. And I'm really shaping them. I don't want them too floofy. Personal preference. If you like the floof, please continue your floof journey. I'm liking them oops, see, sometimes I get a little wow. Who dat? And then sometimes you might discover that you have a little bit of a patch that you missed, like so. Then just grab your pen. What little spot? Not around here. And then sometimes I see some in here. But this is me nitpicking. This is the level of little minute things you really don't have to worry about. The reason that I even think about them, and I'm like, okay, one more hair right here, you never have to, but I'm always filming. So I know what these things look like on camera. It's just years and years of filming, but it's never that serious. Fix that. Now remember, we're doing that eyeshadow look for my friend, and this actually turned into a 3-for-1 special. We did redness, we've done brows, now we're doing eyeshadow. And the thing you want to start with this eyeshadow look is going to definitely be a base close to your skin tone or lighter. Lighter preferably. You'll see that this is quite a bit lighter, but I also don't want you to be too afraid of going lighter because eyeshadow covers it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use a dense brush. If you do any kind of detail work, with any kind of cream. C31. And another cool thing about this is because I do like my brows to be a little bit fluffier underneath here, the way that the fibers are a little bit more separated on the very tip to just kind of push into my brow. I really thought of everything, y'all. Instead of just doing a super, super harsh line, see how it just kind of melts into that? Isn't that cool? We have fun. I'll let this continue playing because it's satisfying. And another reason it's going to benefit us to use such a lighter shade here is it's going to kind of start to show us contrast very, very quickly, and it'll even help us not over blend as long as we get super, super thin. Right now where it's at on my lid, that would just suck up eyeshadow and just be absolute chaos and maybe even cause us more issues. So let's just make sure that we get it. It's not going to dry down. That's also a benefit, but I'm going to wipe my brush off. And it just needs to be worked in a little bit more. You want it to kind of have a little bit of a glisten, but not a full wet sheen. Oh, nope, that's starting to look pretty perfect. There you go. Okay, let me figure out what eyeshadows we're gonna use. So it's pretty much orange, brown, and gold. Okay, we're gonna start with a pretty bright orange. This one's a little dusty, but as you can see, it's definitely the brightest color in this palette. Very 2016, and I just love it. And this is also important. This feels like it might take just a little bit longer, but that specific look is truly about the beautiful separation. So we're just going to start to place this, and this one's going to go up probably higher than you think. And I'm just going to continue to build and stamp, and I'm going to let you see this. Okay, stamp, 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 stamp. Is it a cut crease? Let me see how far it extends. It's truly about that pressing. Not only is that pressing going to give us more control, but it's also going to pack on more intense color. And yes, it is extended. Love it. You see the saturation on that? Scrumptious. I'm going to fill this in just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to not wipe my brush off. I'm just going to start to really lightly tap and just give this a little bit softer transition just up here. If you tap, you control. And that's something I really thought of when I designed these brushes. Because that's something I learned, and I found it so easy. And then I thought, man, we need tools with that in mind. Oh, look at that blur. Scrumptious. Okay, let me go see our next color. I know that the lid color is gold, and I'm excited. I'm gonna take a little bit of this color, which is still very much in the orange family, and I'm just gonna transition this up to the brow just a little bit more. And even in here. And right now, we can do a couple little back and forths, but not too many. And also don't do them where you have your heaviest levels of pigment, because that could start to kind of scratch this heavy pigment away, and give us kind of patchiness and overblended shadow. But you can do some scratch motions to kind of pull that shadow up towards the brow with this kind of blur blend. With that blur blend, it gives that blend a little bit of cushion to kind of move. And I'm being very detailed on how I'm talking about this. Also, creasing right now is completely normal. Completely. None of this is set down here. It's gonna move. Just like concealer. Okay, now it's time for our dark brown. Still using this little guy. Let's go into this dark brown. That's gonna go under. We want to keep our separation though. That's what is so beautiful about the look. Hey, I remember when I used to do this, and not have these wrinkles. That's crazy. I never mind them though. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Stamping's gonna keep that separation. Let me hold that a little further back too. I actually have a lot more control when I hold it further. I might bring the orange up a little bit higher. I feel like the orange goes up a little bit higher to the brow, and I like that about it. But because we are using a smaller brush, we were able to kind of come back and customize instead of, oh no, I've already taken this way too far up. Now what? It's always better to build. That's something I have taught for so many years. This is such a satisfying look. So pretty. It reminds me of kind of a mountain range in the separation of colors. I love nature, y'all. It always inspires me. Y'all know about that New York City pigeon belly gray. And then same thing, I'm just gonna bring up the brown a little bit higher. Perfect. And then I'll just soften the top a little bit and we're almost to the gold. It's actually only 4 colors. Nice. Press, press, press. Need more definition. That's so pretty. This is another picture that was sent to me, and it does look just a little bit more softened, so I did soften it a little bit, just up here. But yes, we're on track. Beauty Creations has got good stuff. Like, really good stuff. This, honestly, is comparable to a lot of the super high-end eyeshadows I have. So don't sleep on them. And they have a bunch of different shades, and I'm actually gonna get them back out. I obviously am always trying a bunch of different things, but I remember these wowed me. So I'm just gonna grab this on a C30. The way that this picks up. And these are gonna be so bright and so intense that we don't even need to pre-carve. These will carve themselves. Now, there is a very heavy black liner, which y'all know I love that. So I am gonna leave a little space for the liner, because no matter how dark your black liner is, if you leave a little space and don't try to go over any kind of shimmer, it's gonna be even darker. And it's just a little bit of space, so I don't want you to panic. See how that's good enough. It just depends on how thick of a liner you're after that day, but I know today is going to be thick. As thick as Jean. Listen, I will find any excuse to do a wing like this. And if you want a really extreme, another level of black gel liner, Melt Cosmetics, all the way. I will say that this level of black gel liner is a little more difficult to work with. For one thing, the texture is really, really wet, which is so good. I'm looking for the lid because I want to put the lid right back on. Which is so good for intensity, but it's a little bit more difficult to keep a handle on it. My first viral videos were of me putting on gel liner, just like we're doing right here. But I would do it in a swoop. And it's very much muscle memory for me. Okay, let's finish this up. If you're as old as me, you probably remember this song. You see how I'm always kind of turning my head all kind of different ways? That really can help. Helps you understand your eye shape more. Nice. Micellar water, C30. Start to really clean all this up. And I want to really brighten up the brow bone because this look is really about the separation and the contrast. Ooh, that's pretty. I'm using the side of the E27. It's just going to fit really perfectly here on my brow bone. And then kind of diffuse it as it goes out this way and diffuse it as it goes out this way. My elbow slipped. I'm falling down. Looking for a reason to wear these really big lashes because the lashes in that look are very dramatic and gorgeous. Now, I used to wear, this is Miami, by the way. These are Lily Lashes Miami, and I used to wear Miami probably every day. Oh, it was a good time. Times were had. Spider warning. And then I'm warming it up because this now comes in self-adhesive. But what I like to do is just kind of tap and really kind of loosen up the band. The body heat's going to do that, but when I'm using a bigger lash, especially if I'm using a bigger lash like this, it's really going to help it be really pliable and easy to place. Let's get this on here. I feel like this looks very similar to the one in the picture. Oh, it's so pretty. You know, sometimes I forget that my eye shape really can't handle a big floofer. No wonder I was wearing these every day. Don't be mean to me. Just look at this. That looks so good. This is so gorgeous. Okay, I hope I did it justice. I do feel that between the two pictures, I couldn't decide if it was more defined or less defined. So I do feel that I'm not sure about that one. But depending on how you view it, we could have blended less, and it was more about the stamping. So if you wanted it more blended, you could just kind of follow what I did. But if you wanted it less blended, all we would have done is just focus more with this and the stamping. So a Christmas song just came on and I don't want to turn it off. I'm not turning it. Let me have Christmas in August. All right, my friends, I love y'all so much. This was a lot today, okay? We went through some things. I love it, and I love doing your requests. I actually have another request for one of my friend, Tanil. She's a makeup artist. She does the most gorgeous looks ever, but she's also doing them on girls that are models and flawless and stunning. I'll show you. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to recreate this, but I need to wash my hair first. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Please. I can't. I'm gonna try. Okay, but let me at least wash my hair. My friend Tanil, she's an incredible artist. She has the bronzers that I use a lot, the cream bronzers. They're over there. But yes, I had a request for this, and I love how wet it looks. Do you see how wet it is there? How wet it is here? So pretty. But just bear with me on this face. I'll get you what's going on here, but it ain't gonna look. I'm not gonna. We're just gonna look at the makeup, not me. So that's what I'll film after this, because like I said, I had a request for that. I had a request for something else, but I'll have to go through my stuff. I really try to get to these, y'all. I know I take a long time, and I do apologize, but there's life. But I always say this is not my page. This is our page. I truly mean it. I've been doing this a long time now. I literally have nothing to hide. I'm not trying to, because that's something that I see a lot on the internet, is how just goody I am. It just so happens that way. That's truly what's in my heart. I'm sorry if it offends you. Yes, there really is goodness in this world, and I try to be that little bit of, I don't know, something you can always know